Be seated. Citizen concerns. Anyone here to speak on items not on the agenda? Hearing none. Approval of the agenda for August 11th, 2015, which is the 33rd week for the year.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Approval of the minutes for August 4th, 2015.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Discussion and approval of claims.
Move approval.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Human Resources, Ed. Approval of memorandum of personnel transactions. Need a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
And the next item up is the employee flu shots. I know we've had great participation with the flu shots. It's a highly recommended immunization by our district health department. I think it helps us with our wellness and reduces absenteeism. So we've got that on the agenda to complete that again as well.
Move it.
Discussion? Need a motion.
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Will they be when, in October, or when do you think those?
We definitely have them scheduled already for October and November. The October is the health fair that we have upstairs, October 27th. The November 12th is part of the safety meeting that we have out at the Conservation Center. So we've got those set up already. We'll have others probably, I would think, early in October, late in September, available here in the courthouse and LEC and secondary roads.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
And the next thing was the wellness screenings. Again, we have those scheduled already with Mercy for the health fair and for the safety meeting November 12th. We'd like to get those started late October into November. Get all of those up and running by the end of open enrollment.
Need a motion.
Move to approve employee wellness screenings.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Last item.
The last item is a personnel issue, and because it's a personnel issue, there's only so many details we can share. We have an employee who was in a situation where they had a lengthy illness. They followed protocol and took their sick leave during the time that they were ill. They worked when they weren't ill. Because they worked when they weren't ill and didn't take vacation, by the time they used all of their vacation, they were recovered. By the time they used all their sick leave, they were recovered. They never did take any of their vacation, so they've got a full year's worth of vacation on the books that they're going to lose if we don't reinstate it for them.
Do we have a sick leave bank?
Yes, we do have a sick leave bank, and she did use all of her sick leave hours. So,
Is there precedent for this?
I don't know that there really is precedence for it. Larry, you could speak to that more.
Yeah, there is precedent for it, but
There's also precedence against it, too.
No, I'm not saying for it. I'm saying the precedent was we turned down.
Right. Nevada Sheriff's Department.
Right.
That was turned down because there wasn't any extenuating circumstances.
Right.
That's true.
My question on this is, are we looking to reinstate the vacation, to pay it out?
I believe the intention, I believe, is to reinstate the vacation.
Reinstate the vacation, that's correct. Had this individual been able to take vacation, the history shows that she certainly would have.
Right.
But for the last year or so, with what was going on, basically it was all sick leave or times
there any thought of putting a time?
I would say a 1 year. I mean, by the next time her anniversary date rolls around, that whatever she doesn't use then, over and above, would be, written off.
But would you want this person to be able to use 6 weeks in a row, or do you want to have a stipulation in here, it can only be taken 3 weeks?
Well, I would say probably no more than 2 weeks at a time. We don't like people to be gone for 6 weeks in a row. It kind of puts an extra burden on the office.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how much time are we talking?
Can that be stipulated, though, how much you can take off
I think
at
where
a
it's
time?
special, and Joshua referred to you, but I don't see any reason why we couldn't, where it's a special reinstatement. We're making an exception anyway. We can kind of make the ground rules to the exception.
Well, and I don't think you'd necessarily have to put any stipulations directly on the additional vacation, but any vacation request would still be subject to approval by the department head. And if the department head,
I don't believe this individual is going to try to, anyway abuse anything. So I don't think that's any problem whatsoever with that.
Is this a contractual issue?
I mean, it's laid out what, I don't think the union would have any objection to our making an exception to this, and I don't think it sets a precedent that we would. Just a very extenuating circumstance, due to some issues that were, we were noticed that they created a lot of issues.
Do you see this as a case where the elected official could do this himself in his department?
I don't believe
That's
so.
out of my area, that would be Joshua's area. Except, I think it's, the employee's still a Woodbury County employee. So I would think at that point it winds up being a Woodbury County decision. That would be my interpretation of it.
I would move due to the extenuating circumstances that we allow this person to carry this vacation over and use it up this year.
Emphasis on extenuating circumstances.
Right.
And that means we're extreme circumstances. Since it wasn't for HIPAA, we could get into the details of it, but it was extreme circumstances. Not at all typical, and not just a miscalculation or a misunderstanding. It was extreme circumstances.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, very good. Board Administration, Karen James. Approval of resolution thanking and commending county employee for years of service. Need a motion.
Move it. See for signature.
Need a second.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Approval of lifting tax suspension for CG.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Receive the Veterans Affairs Quarterly Report. And you will notice there are 5 signatures on there now. That's pretty cool.
Move it.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. All right, it's 4:41. We have a time set. Receive and consider bids for propane for heating buildings for conservation, emergency management, that should be emergency services, the Anthon Courthouse, and Secondary Road Department.
Make sure we get that correct on next year's.
We don't want to be heating the TSI.
I don't think they're propane, though.
I don't think they are either.
The first one is from Sapp Brothers Incorporated of Sioux City. I have bid tabulation sheets for the board as well.
What's the quantity you estimate when you do this?
Typically, we estimate based on prior years. This year, we're looking at 48,200 gallons. Our department used about 35,000 gallons of that, with the balance being spread among the other departments involved in this quote. I think we added about 5,000 gallons to cover the courthouse, the little courthouse one.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you actually get all these bids?
We've got 3, it looks like.
That's not bad.
These are the folks that we did send out and solicit to, though. Some years we get more than others. Again, getting back to Sapp Brothers. Their furnish and deliver, 72 cents a gallon. Next we have Johnson Propane and Heating. $0.63 a gallon.
What are we
I
paying?
like these prices.
What are we paying now?
That's on the
133.
It was $1.33 last year.
Really?
It's varied up and down. I think we were about 94 cents the prior year. So it's highly variable based on projected supply and demands. We never know where this one's going, it seems like. We've been as high in my recollection as $1.67 a gallon. And the final quote is from First Co-op Association, 92 cents per gallon.
First Co-op, would that be
Farmers?
Farmers or Western?
Cherokee, Iowa.
No,
It's
not
just
even on
First
here.
Cooperative Association, Corporate Office, Cherokee, Iowa.
And theirs is what?
92 cents per gallon.
Wow. Propane Hank did good.
Yes. I would say we could make a recommendation for award to Johnson Propane of Battle Creek, Iowa. 63 cents per gallon.
Move it.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. That looks great.
It's nice to get favorable bids. That's a big saver for our department for sure.
Okay, we're right on time for the next one. Receive and consider bids for calcium chloride for winter snow removal use for the secondary road department. This is kind of crazy to be doing this when it's 90 degrees outside, but then
Our first bid is from Scottwood Industries. $412.80 per ton. Will make the total $63,571.20. $412.80. Our next bid is from Univar USA of Kent, Washington. Did we only have 2, Ken? Just making sure I didn't miss any.
I've got a Univar
their corporate office may have moved.
Okay.
We send it to who our local contract, Univar is a new name as well. I think they were letting it under a different name. Their bid price is $800 per ton, total $123,200. That's a pretty simple one. I recommend award to Scott Wood Industries for $412.80 per ton.
Move
So
it.
moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. What was it this year?
Last year, what did I have in the 420? Pretty close to the same price. We were $399 the year prior, so.
Does bottom cars provide calcium chloride?
I can't remember if they just sent us a request to bid it. I don't think they can supply in the quantity we're looking for.
Yeah.
We do buy this as a bag product as opposed to a granular product. We mix it by the bag. I think we're using, the guys have a formula pretty well laid out. It's 4 bags per bucket load of sand, and that's what we use to help keep that sand pile from freezing in the winter. It does give us a little bit of low temperature punch on the roads as well. We'll add a little bit extra when we want to send one out if we.
So you mix that as you put it into that?
Before we stock our bins. As the sand boat dumps, they'll bring over a bucket, they'll throw in a couple of bags, they'll turn it, and then push it into the shed.
Okay.
Continue on, I guess.
Item C.
First item we have is approval of a contract for replacement of County Culvert N91 on 260th with L.A. Carlson Construction. Total price for that project, $188,546.60.
Need a motion.
I would move it. Did we already have this contract?
We awarded last week, but we have not. We have not given the chair the authority to sign the contracts and bid bond.
Mr. Chair.
Discussion. All those. Do we have a second? Yes.
Is this part of the 5-year bridge replacement program? Was a bridge for this particular part going to be a bridge, or was it going to be a culvert?
This is what the structure that was hydraulically adequate is a large precast box culvert. So that's what we're replacing there.
In the plan, was the plan originally was a bridge, and now it's cheaper going by culvert?
I believe we estimated this one as a culvert from the beginning. At the time I think it's a 25-foot bridge that's out there now. It's one of the Greenwood structures. It has a flume on the downstream side. Until we really get into design with those structures, we're just kind of taking a guess as to which it might be.
State's using big box culverts on 20. Ooh.
Oh, yes, they are. We have our share of those too, but this one is a little bit smaller. It's a smaller drainage area. The biggest challenge we had with this one was 15-foot of drop across the roadway.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a significant hole.
Shouldn't have any debris in it.
It blows itself out pretty cleanly. The substructure on it is very bad. It's aging and the piling are bad. So,
You have a motion and a second, Pat?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. D.
This next one is one of our FEMA projects. This structure was damaged in the storms that occurred around June 15th of 2014. It's been a long drawn-out process to get FEMA funding for project enhancement. In this case, we added concrete head walls to the structure to help prevent the type of failure that occurred on the road with this latest flood. So the total bid price on the project is $84,993. This is a 12-foot diameter corrugated metal pipe that'll be put in place. It's smaller drainage area. It's a appropriately sized structure for the watershed.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Next, we have consideration of, I'll bring these up to you when we get finished with the rest. Permit to work in the right-of-way for Brent Newman. Brent is making some improvements to a shared driveway that serves his acreage and a farm access. He's removing a couple of cottonwood trees that are of mutual benefit to the county and to the property owner to get rid of them. So,
Need a motion?
since they are in the right-of-way, he does require a permit.
Move to approve the permit.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Finally, we have consideration of a cooperative agreement for the interchange justification report preparation for a new interchange of I-29 between mileposts 138 and 140. This is roughly in the area between just south of 235th Street and the interstate rest area, which is milepost 140. The DOT, as has been discussed with an agreement that the board already passed, will be responsible for 1/3 of the cost, up to $200,000 participation. The estimated cost for the project is $600,000. Woodbury County has been identified as the lead agency for the project, who will be the contract intermediary and be working with our partners in this project, Sioux City, Sergeant Bluff, Siouxland Cooperative, and I think Salix.
We have an agreement amongst the local partners, but this would be the agreement with the DOT.
This is the agreement with DOT for them to provide that $200,000 worth of participation in the cost, and then to take this on to Federal Highway upon the completion of the report.
Need a motion?
Move it.
Need a second?
Second.
Discussion? Yes, sir.
I have two questions. 5C, under the agreement, says the LBK shall respond for additional costs related to said extra work order contracts. Will that be the county's sole responsibility, or will that be divided up through the portion we have?
5C?
Yes. The last sentence under 5C there, the LPA shall be responsible for additional costs related to said extra work orders or contract amendments. So say we have a contract amendment of 100,000, are we only responsible for the whole 100, or are we splitting that up?
I think that's pretty much we're responsible. They're
Yeah.
saying they'll put 200 in.
That would be my interpretation of the agreement, too.
For the other taxing bodies. The DOT's limit 200,000, what about their taxing bodies? Will we
That-
share that extra 100 between those bodies, the city, Sergeant Bluff, Siouxland Institute?
That would be my anticipation. Initially, all the costs that DOT is anticipating here is paid for by the county. Then we would bill those other entities. DOT has no participation in that part of the agreement.
Right.
So that was my next question. On item D, it says we shall make all the payments, say Bill comes with the 200,000. We pay it, and then we go back, get reimbursed, and hopefully the turnaround time won't be long, so it's a lot of money out of our side. And that's not a problem, just so we get reimbursed, within a month or 2 or 3.
Right.
Okay, that's the only two things I have.
Well,
Typically, DOT takes 30 to 45 days with the reimbursements that we file. We need to be able to file with them a detailed cost billing, a copy of the claim, and then a copy of the canceled warrant. Those are the items that are required to get reimbursement from DOT on any of their projects.
That's right, we're staying with the other taxing bodies. We pay up front, and they reimburse us.
That would be correct. I would anticipate we would send each of those bills based on their share from the agreement that is
so
in
we
place.
probably need to work through Mark to get this done. Now, there's two of the participants that have a cap. The Siouxland Initiative at 40,000 and the DOT at 200,000. So may have good discussions down the road with the rest of them. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a question. So the next step on this is to hire, did I
Yes.
read this right? We need a lead consultant. What is it? that it will be McClure Engineering, or are we bidding that out, or?
Personally, I think it's a foregone conclusion. However, we need to visit with Josh and make sure we're getting it done right.
DOT does not require that this be bid out. They do have a pre-qualification list, and we can work with the contractors who have satisfied their placement on that list. I believe McClure and HDR have been working together in preparing this so that there's some consistency between McClure's approach with our economic development work and HDR being very experienced in preparing these type of reports. So you're going to be seeing a partnership on the development of this is what's proposed at this point in time.
Is there any thought to consulting with the other partners on this?
On the selection of the consultant?
Right.
That would be up to the Board of Supervisors. You are the LPA. That's not the county engineer in that part of the agreement.
So how do you want to do that, Mark?
Well, find out whether we have to bid it out to start with, and then if we don't, make some calls.
No, Mark's right. It's for professional services. You don't have to bid that out.
You do?
You do not.
You do not. That's,
And there's nothing in this agreement that requires that you bid it out.
that's my understanding too.
But the key is that the companies that you're working with be on that DOT pre-qualified list.
Right.
Will that require board action then to secure the next step? Won't that have to come back
For
to?
the engineering, yes.
Yeah, for
I would
engineering.
anticipate we would bring back a contract. We're working on a concept statement that would be approved by the DOT for the development of this project. With that concept statement and their approval, we would then be able to go to the consultant selected for a contract, and then they would be able to give us a bid on that scope of work. So that's really the next step, is to assure that we're hitting all the buttons that DOT feels will be necessary to make this a successful concept, and then to have a contract that would come back for board approval.
What do you suppose the time frame of that is?
To get the contract in place, we're probably looking in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 months. Some of this we should be able to work with very quickly. McClure has helped out by giving us a concept statement that just came in my email box before I left for the meeting. So I'll review it and see if it touches everything. I'll meet with Tony Lazarovich, the district engineer, make sure DOT doesn't have any concerns, and then we would have that initial work done for a kickoff meeting.
McClure has been involved in this back last year in terms of putting this together.
I'm
so.
very comfortable with McClure.
Yeah.
They've been,
They are,
they've done good
and they've done a lot of the background work for development in the area. They're very familiar with us. They would be very hard not to look at as the potential in my estimation. Again, I think they are looking at partnering with another company that is experienced in developing these reports. This isn't work that's done by a lot of firms in the state because there's only 2 or 3 of these done per year. And interchanges aren't something that are cropping up in a lot of places, only in areas where you have growth.
Pretty hard
Sioux
to sell.
City, Des Moines, Ankeny. I mean, those are where we're seeing those type changes. We're really, this is not a frequent process.
And I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point in time, it was atypical for the IDOT to participate in these studies. I don't know if they have
Unheard of.
changed. Yeah, I don't
we
know
are
if they
the
have.
first.
Okay, that's what I
And
thought.
I think that's very much a reflection of the potential that their director has seen in this area, working with the Department of Economic Development and the governor's office. They seem to have gotten on board in an unprecedented manner in this area.
And actually, they've been on board for a few years, because I can remember meeting with that DOT director more than 2 years ago, and he was ready to go then.
This
So
was-
I'm glad. This is, I think, a monumental thing today, and
Well, this was discussed as part of the RISE project when CF Industries came to the area. So I think that's when the offer was initially thrown on the table.
Right.
I think it's terrific that they're putting that money in.
Well, and we got to get it rolling because it's going to take a long time to get it going. 10 years is what
Well,
they're projecting, which I think is not very optimistic, but it is what it is.
could be fast-tracked sooner
could be. Highway 20 was.
I mean, the
We can
report,
get that 10 cents gas tax.
the report preparation, you're probably looking in the neighborhood of 18 to 24 months. There is a lot that has to be looked at. It'll include environmental studies. They'll have to be looking at the century farms that are in the area, any other historical or other assets that are in that area. They'll probably have to look and propose a couple of different alternatives and then select where they feel the best location is. I know the DOT is looking at addressing the location of that eastern rest area.
Yeah.
That is one of the concerns with this project, is how everything interrelates with that, because that is your milepost 140, and the proximity of this to that ramp makes a big difference in what the final outcome of the report will be. So,
Are the intergovernmental agreements all agreeable if they come back with a recommendation that's in a different location?
Yes, I was cautioned last week to be flexible on the outcome of this justification report. It may come back somewhere other than 138 to 140.
currently,
We don't have any control over that, but if there's something that prevents us from doing it there,
Well,
Said that.
the other thing is the future board would still have the discretion of whether to go ahead with the project or not.
yeah.
just so you know, the Sergeant Bluff exit is 141. The rest area would be mile point 140. And then the next exit is 135, which is Port Neal, 5 miles to the south roughly. So there's a 5-mile stretch in there between the rest area and the other that would have to be under consideration.
Well, this makes sense that the county is taking the lead, and it's a good, solid, cooperative project that has been in the making for too long, in my opinion, but I'm glad that we're off and running. So keep us posted.
Will do.
We're on a roll. Okay,
Mark, I've got a question for you. I'll catch you afterwards, just don't get away.
committee reports. I stopped over to District Health today, and Kevin walked me through what they're looking at to remodel the building. It's very impressive what's going on over there in terms of services. They do an awful lot for an awful lot of people, and some of it we never see, like the disease control and that kind of thing. And it's the nicest building we have.
I still would like to see the supervisors as a whole go up there. And part of that is just because then they'll throw some press that way too on what they do. So if you would consider, including that as part of an agenda item, I think it'd be good for them and good for us.
I also stopped in at the Center for Active Generations. They have a new director. Nice lady. She has ties to this area. And they have a lot of stuff going on over there. They're pretty short-handed, but they do a lot. Got some great programs. PACE will be moving out of there next year, and they're looking for a good partner to purchase that space on the other side, because PACE did interact with them in terms of the workout rooms and so forth, but they got a lot of stuff going on. Anyone else?
I also stopped at Siouxland District Health today separately and got a tour from Kevin as well, and very informative. Certainly helped to see how their renovation is going to streamline the patient flow. He reiterated they want to complement, not compete with the area physicians, which is a good business model, especially for a taxpayer-funded entity, in my opinion. And of course, they provide nursing services, child and maternal care. I'm also encouraged that their cash balance is around the 25% of previous year's budget, which, as it was explained to me, it was the guideline when they were formed, and currently the state guideline is 20%, so they have a, they have a comfortable cushion that is agreeable to the county and Siouxland District Health Board. But I think that's also a plus, in addition to being the largest public health facility of their kind in the state.
Very good. Anyone else? We will have a closed session is it next week? Or the 25th? Next week. Okay, we need to inform Doug, because I think I told him the 25th. 3:30. Some of it is closed, some of it is bargaining, so there'll be a mix. I think there's 3 items that we're going to go through. The next week we will be going to Sergeant Bluff. It will be an exciting evening. Might get a little long, so bring some popcorn. They will have some food there. I am going to do a very short presentation to cover Dennis and David Gleiser, under 5 minutes, because we don't dare take up too much time. They have a bond issue they got to talk about. And if you've driven around Sergeant Bluff, they got an awful lot of stuff going on that they will talk about. This will be the 3rd community conversation, and I'm betting there'll be 300 plus people there. So it'll be a very interesting evening. They're pretty action-packed, and you never know, there might be new information by the time we get to the 25th. So Sergeant Bluff is really on a roll. They got a lot of good stuff going on. The wages in the area have gone up. That's great news for us. We are still very short on labor. There's a lot of people trying to work on that, and I hope that we can get new people in here. There's a lot of housing going up that will help. There are programs like Simcoe has the Housing Trust Fund. They are rehabbing houses to keep older folks in them, which is great. There will be a nursing home, a senior living area, and another area in Sergeant Bluff for older folks, condo kind of things, which are critical because that moves people out of housing that might be more affordable into other areas, so the younger folks can move into the housing that becomes available. That's a theory. I don't know if it works or not, but awful lot of stuff going on. That's all I got. Oh, I've asked Mike and his folks to come up with a design for some desks to replace our picnic tables. And he will bring something to us that will be portable. And, they take it in and out of here so we can use the room. And we'll see what that looks like and go from there.
We have Major Wick in the back. Not Stallman, I beg your pardon. Could you tell us what's going on with Prairie Hills?
We had quite a few officers leaving the jail. So right now we have 5 people in training, and we have 3 that are out injured, which put us down 8 officers, and our numbers were such in the jail right now that we could bring the work release population downtown. So we didn't have to put 2 officers out at Prairie Hill until we can get these 5 people trained up. Once they're back trained up, we'll move our work release numbers back out to Prairie Hill.
Okay. It's been such a lengthy time. I was just getting concerned about our variance to be able to use that structure.
We talked to Delbert, called him and told him what we were doing, asked him if that was okay to do, and he didn't have any problem with it. They got to go back, though, as soon as we get these people trained up.
Okay.
I've had some long-range discussions with the sheriff and his folks, and there's absolutely no resolution yet, but if future of Prairie Hills. Shifting within the LEC, maybe even some shifting within the courthouse, but boy, is that long range. Getting everybody in the same room on the same page is probably a big job.
I think also, I should say, there's programs that are going to be starting over the next year that I think will help. The warming shelter is going to be year-round. There's also an alcohol program starting with another entity, and I don't want to announce
One of the
it 'cause
hospitals, yeah.
they haven't did it yet, but it's approximately 20 people or so that they can hold, and that's a lot of what we have is homeless, alcohol problems that are coming in every day. You know, we're seeing anywhere from 8 to 10 of those people every single day, and that's really kind of what keeps your numbers. After they come in 3 times, then they stay for 30 days, is how that works out. So
That's a little counterproductive.
it is it's a struggle for us. Anything else?
That's it. Anyone else? Citizens? Media? Need a motion to adjourn. All those in favor go home.